We have reviewed quite a lot of Oukitel phones, and the U7 Plus is one of the latest budget offerings. It costs just above 80 bucks, but it has some decent specs for the price. This is Linus, stay tuned for a full review. The phone ships with all the usual stuff, and there are no extras included in the box. Design-wise, the phone looks and feels kind of plasticky, but it is well built. We have a 5.5-inch 720p display, which is not the sharpest out there, but it is definitely enough for the daily use for such a cheap phone. The buttons are made of plastic too, but they have a decent tactile response. The backplate can be easily removed to access a 2500 mAh battery, 2 SIM card slots, and the microSD card slot. On the back, we have a 13 megapixels camera and a fingerprint sensor, which is far from the fastest I've seen, but it works 8 out of 10 times. We have the LED light, but the capacitive buttons are not backlit. The loudspeaker is like on most of the cheap phones, the sound is kind of flat. The Oukitel U7 Plus sports pretty good specs for the price. The phone ships with a quad-core MTK6737 chip, 2GB of RAM and 16GB of storage. The gaming performance is okay. You should be able to run most of the 2D games and the 3D games on the medium graphics. The Android 6.0 based user interface will give you a pretty much stock Android experience, but there are some added features like a theme star or a bunch of gesture and motion controls that actually work pretty well. I didn't have any major lags or hiccups even after installing quite a few apps, and I believe this is the most important thing for such a cheap phone. You can always be picky with each cheap phone once you talk about the image quality, but you should never expect any stellar results from cheap devices. The U7 Plus is no exception. The images look okay, but they are usually overexposed, oversaturated, the dynamic range adjustment is not really accurate, and there could be more detail and so on. Same can be said about the video quality, but it is okay for such a cheap phone. I didn't have any connectivity issues, and even the GPS lock speeds and accuracy were okay. The 2500 mAh battery is definitely too small for 5.5 inches display, but it can still get you through the day on the mixed use. With my usage, I could get around 4 or even 4.5 hours of screen time, which is a pretty good result. Oukitel U7 Plus is yet another cheap phone from China. For the price, it does most of the things right, and this is what you have to expect from a cheap phone in general. Most importantly, it doesn't have any major shortcomings, except for the fact that the battery capacity could have been larger. Also, the phone does feel a little bit cheap as it uses plastic in its construction. On the other hand, the build quality is pretty good. Other than that, Oukitel U7 Plus is a decent phone for the price. It was Linus, thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions about this device, please drop me a comment down below, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, please visit gizmochina.com for all the latest and greatest Chinese tech news and reviews. See you soon.